Welcome back to a new episode of the You're Not Wrong podcast, a podcast where Gen X and millennials talk about culture back then, culture right now, and mostly agree to disagree. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the millennial.
I'm Nicole, and I'm a Gen Xer.
And Nicole, don't you feel like now, during spooky season, we should get, perhaps, a little spooky?
I love to get spooky. I've been trying to get a little spooky since October 1st hit.
Well, I think
maybe this will do the trick.
I was gonna say, I think
treat.
This could be the treat to do the trick and get you into a spooktacular spooky season.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Thank you, off the cuff.
Wow.
So yeah, I have put together a list of Florida ghosts.
Florida ghosts.
Okay.
These are probably like ghosts from 1974. I don't feel like Florida has real old ghosts. Yeah. So Florida doesn't give me spooky, but I'm open to these ghost stories.
Okay.
Of Florida.
Well, in this millennial moment, let's talk instead about a Florida man. Let's have some stories about Florida ghosts.
Okay, I'm interested. Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, so it's funny that you say that Florida doesn't give you old vibes.
Even though I know it's very old.
Well, Florida is actually home to one of the oldest, or actually, I apologize, the oldest city in the entire United States.
Is St. Augustine older than Jamestown?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I've been there.
Because the Spanish, so for anyone who doesn't know Florida history, the Spanish were here prior to the British coming.
Right.
And they were in Florida. So then, Florida for a long time was a Spanish colony.
Long time.
A very long time. But then once it became part of, the
Union.
U.S.
Yeah.
And then once it became part of the U.S., then we had the oldest city, right?
Right.
So that's basically it. So
Interesting.
Our first story takes us to St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, where I did drink some water from the Fountain of Youth.
Oh, okay.
It was very stinky.
Yeah, I'm not drinking that.
I know. Why did I do that?
I don't know. But that's like going to, that bar in Ybor called Bradley's, and they have that river.
That's basically what it was. With mannequins.
Sticking your hand in there. I came out with 8 diseases.
With
that's the start
mannequins of the Native American mannequins.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was real cheesy. But
okay,
anyway.
so I will now give you this ghost story. Are you ready?
St. Augustine. Go.
St. Augustine. Let me set the scene.
Okay.
So St. Augustine has become known as one of the most haunted cities in Florida, hands down. It helps that the city was founded in 1565, making it the oldest city in the United States. Mm-hmm. Right, 1565,
real
man.
old.
They had what, teepees?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
old.
Did they have wood at that point?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. One site of legendary hauntings is the St. Augustine Lighthouse, which was built in 1874 and stands 160 foot tall with 219 steps to get to the top.
That's a lot. When
it comes to ghosts, some visitors report having heard the sound of children's laughter and footsteps. Most likely, these are the laughs of the teenage daughters of a lighthouse worker. Allegedly, these 2 girls drowned in the late 1800s after playing in a rail car that fell into the bay.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, so they were playing in it and then...
And it fell? It was on the elevated...
It was at the lighthouse.
Okay, well, where's the rail car at?
They were like using the rail car to bring up construction stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then the rail car fell into the bay and they drowned. There are also reports of a man in blue in the basement of the former lightkeeper's house. Other reports include mysterious voices, the smell of cigar smoke, and a shadowy figure at the top of the stairs. The lighthouse has received attention nationally, appearing on several episodes of the series Ghost Hunters.
I watch that sometimes.
And while this is one site in historic St. Augustine that appears to be haunted, it's not the last. Here is a list of haunted sites in St. Augustine in case you ever want to go.
Okay.
Get ready.
All right.
Castillo de San Marcos, Old Jail, Spanish Military Hospital.
Jails are always haunted.
Jails always, they do. But I mean, it makes sense.
And hospitals.
The Spanish Military Hospital, Casa Monica Hotel, Flagler College, the oldest wooden schoolhouse, the Huguenot Cemetery, Casablanca Inn, and Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill.
Harry's is haunted?
Allegedly.
What?
See, so that one makes me... I don't know about that one.
Harry's... Why would Harry's be haunted?
I don't know.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
Speaking of hospitals, did you know that I lived in a Civil War hospital?
I did not know that.
In Richmond, one of my apartments was a Civil War hospital.
Did you?
That was converted and it was haunted.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah.
And did you have any ghost experiences?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah.
Would you like to share, or are you just
it was pretty bad, actually.
Okay. Is this like another spooky episode?
Really hard in the middle of the night.
Was it? Okay, wait.
It was kind of like a sleep paralysis situation, but I was slapped hard.
Was it a hospital for Confederate, or?
It was, I'm assuming it was because it was in Richmond.
Yeah, so, I don't know much about where Richmond stood.
It was the heart of the Confederacy.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sounds bad.
And it was on the water. So people were coming in, going there. And they had converted it. Literally everything along that river was some historic thing.
Okay.
And this was a hospital. And I actually had sublet it because one of my really good friends had to go. She got a job somewhere else. And she was like, do you want my apartment? It was a really nice apartment. It had like an exposed brick wall. And it was like 2 stories. It was really cute.
And people only lasted 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. And I took it over. And it was definitely, it had vibes. And including being woke up in the middle of the night after being slapped really hard. It could have been a dream, but I felt like that place had some juju in it.
You feel like you were watched, that kind of feeling?
I just feel like there was other people there. It just had a strong vibe of something had happened there. Even the way it was like structured. It was just very weird. So anyway, that's just a little aside.
Love that.
I know.
Love that for you. That sounds horrible. I don't think I've ever been... Well...
Have you had an encounter?
See, okay. Here's the thing. I feel like I am very closed off. Like there's a no
the energy.
Yeah, like
don't come up in here with this.
No
right
vacancy.
Now. Do not come up in here right now.
Yeah, no. Don't look, Casper, don't even try to tell it to me.
I don't feel like that about you at all.
Yeah, but I think in my heart and my soul, like I'm not ready. Like, I don't think I'm interested.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, like, if anything wanted to,
you're close.
It would just hit, like, a wall. Because, like, I'm not interested.
You're scared.
I am. I don't want to deal with it. However, have I told you that I am haunted?
No, but I could tell.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, you never told me that.
Haunted by my past relationships and all the men going their own way.
Gosh.
Just kidding. No, so, like, I met this... Anyone who knows me probably has heard this story a million times. But basically, I was out with some friends, and like a friend of a friend was there, and she was nice, whatever. Yeah. We're all hanging out, having drinks. We were at a Mexican restaurant, and like restaurant/bar, because lots of Spanish places do that. And we were drinking outside, and her friend, who was our mutual friend, was like, "Oh." I guess it was it was like around this time. So she was like, "Oh, did so-and-so tell you how she sees ghosts?" And the girl like immediately got upset. She was like, "Why are you bringing this up? Why are you telling that? This is not something that we just bring up at drinks." And of course my ass is like, "Wait, no, we have to talk about this now." So then she's like, "Yeah, I've had some experiences. Like I do think I'm on like the psychic spectrum, whatever. Like I can see things at times. I don't really like enjoy talking about it, whatever, blah, blah." Which to me was like, okay, interesting. Because I feel like some people will be like, "Oh, what are you? A Sagittarius? Okay, well, my psychic ability."
No, you're not supposed to do that.
She's like very, like, she's closed off. And so she started like telling us about some of her experiences. And I guess there was like one where, I don't know, like something was throwing me off. And one of the stories she said kind of like, just like, I guess raised a red flag in my head. But then also I'm kind of like
a cynical
asshole at times. And so I was like, well, what about here? Like, is anything following any of us here? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, like who? Right? Like, and we're like pushing her, and she's like, "You."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
See, that's what you get.
I don't think it was like from me messing with her. She's a very nice.
She was being real.
No,
but
we became friends later, and I was like, "Oh, okay, no, she's like a legitimately nice person. She's not trying to fuck around with me." But but then I'm like, "Okay, wait, what?" Like
something was on you.
Now you have to tell me. And she's like, she was like, "I can see, I sense, I feel that there is something that is attached to you." And she was like, it's got a female energy.
Okay.
but I was like, okay, well, is it good or bad? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I need to know that. Because she was like, do you ever feel like you're not alone? I'm like, yeah, but doesn't everyone?
No. Sometimes I feel alone when I am alone.
I feel
I
like-
like that.
No.
Like, yes, nobody's here. Nothing is here except me.
I feel like it's very normal to feel like there's always someone with you, right?
No.
Because in theory, there's like always someone with you.
No, it's not.
It's like God
No.
or like, you know,
yeah, but no. You don't feel alone.
not often.
Okay, well, that's
I
a sign.
Never thought about it until she told me this.
Yeah, most people don't feel that way.
I do. And then she was like, she like started asking me some more questions, and like some of the things she said, like I didn't disclose anything. Some of the things she said didn't really make sense. Some of the things she said did make sense.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, but is it good or bad?
What
I
did
feel
she
like
say?
this is the question, right? And she was like, it's not bad.
But it's not necessarily
Right. I was
good
like,
either.
why
Which is
there
like a regular
but?
person.
And she was like, but it's not. She's like, I'm not sensing that it's not like a guardian angel type thing.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, I feel like they have gotten you out of situations, but it's more that they're just like curious about you.
Jeez Louise, you've encountered something that's like, I want to be with, I'm hanging out with her. Yep.
Yeah, and that's concerning more so than like if it was like a good thing and it's like, I'm going to be your buddy. No, but like,
you didn't get that one.
I got one that's like, you're kind of weird.
And I want to hang out with her.
Let's hang out. I'm interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was like, I do think it's definitely helped you out at times, but it's not like a general, it's not like it's here to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just hanging out.
Maybe it thought like, oh, well, this one can't die yet. I'm still interested in where this is going.
Boy, oh boy.
But I don't know. But ever since then, Jason, do you believe in ghosts? No? What do you think about that story I just said? I'm curious. Like, what do you think about this, Jason? Please.
Jason's like,
Jason.
what the fuck?
You think it's full of shit? Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't think that's so far-fetched.
All I know is that that's what happened. I have always thought about going to a psychic and seeing like what somebody else says.
Yeah.
I did end up, like I said, becoming friends with this person and I trusted them like to an extent. I mean, who knows how much of that is true?
I have not gone to a psychic and I haven't had a tarot reading. I've had opportunities because I think kind of like you, I'm not ready to go that.
I don't want to tempt it.
Yeah, I don't want to either. Like if I'm ready to step into that realm, I'll do it. But I'm telling you, I'm not ready to step into that realm.
It's also like apparently me being closed off already attracted some shit.
So imagine if you open yourself up.
Bro, I'm not interested. I'm not trying to do this thing where we gotta now like I have all these ghost friends. I'm trying to help them like finish their unfinished business.
I
like,
hear you.
Whoopi Goldberg and ghosts is who I think. That's
that
me.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I want to deal with it.
It's a nightmare.
But yeah, so anyway, that's my one.
St. Augustine.
So that's St. Augustine. And then also me at a Mexican restaurant in Tallahassee.
You're a haunted part of
I am
Florida.
a haunted person. I am part of haunted Florida. Okay, so taking it a little farther south.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Devil's Tree in Port St. Lucie?
The Devil's what?
Tree.
No.
Okay, so in Oak...
I don't like the name of that.
I don't think you're supposed to.
Okay. Go ahead.
In Oak Hammock Park in Port St. Lucie, there is a large and mysterious oak tree on one of their nature trails. Known as the Devil's Tree, the area was the site of gruesome murders by Gerard John Schaefer in the early 1970s. Considered one of Florida's first serial killers, Schaefer, also known as the Killer Cop, he was a cop, and he used his badge to like lure women in. And also the Hangman was a former cop who restrained women to trees and with a hangman's noose prior to their torture and eventual murder. Though he was eventually convicted of the murders of 2 women, he is suspected of murdering around 30.
Damn.
Schaefer, after torturing Susan Place and Georgia Jessup, hanged them from the oak tree. He then buried them in a shallow grave near the tree, only to return numerous times later to desecrate the decomposing bodies.
Oh my goodness.
Reportedly. Exactly how many women were tied and killed on Devil's Tree is unknown. However, its gruesome history has led many to believe the Devil's Tree is imbued with darkness from Gerard John Schaefer's evil crimes, as well as the many others. According to legend, several failed attempts have been made to cut down the tree over the years and have been unsuccessful. A local priest allegedly attempted to perform an exorcism here back in the early 1990s, and that also did not work. Here are some supernatural things that have reportedly occurred at the Devil's Tree in Oak Hammock Park. Satanists heard about these killings in the Devil's Tree, and they started using it as a sacrificial site and meeting place. Oh,
God, making it even worse.
More than 4 women and counting have been found in the nearby area, dead. Many show signs of having been tied or chained to that tree or another tree and violently abused. There are countless reports of hikers hearing odd sounds and singing in the pines around the tree. Hooded figures are known to prowl the area. Sightings of these strange hooded figures have only swelled during the years. Mm-hmm. The trails are ominous, and in several places near the tree, vegetation has ceased to grow.
Oh.
Authorities have made various arrests in the area, including Ku Klux Klan members and other white supremacist groups. The area is filled with ghost sightings, and many believe that the spirit of the victims of Girard haunt the forest. And then
nothing like a haunted forest.
Bro, the whole damn thing.
Yeah, love it.
Imagine buying a house near this preserve and you're like,
imagine being a kid that lives near there.
Folks who have taken pieces of the tree, so like branches or whatever, have reported misfortune immediately afterwards.
Well, who told you to take the piece of the damn tree?
Why would you do that?
Why are you doing that? You're tempting fate.
From what I've heard, so I have actually met someone who has investigated around
this tree,
Devil's Tree. Yes. They do say so. They do say that there's a Wikipedia page if anyone's interested. Sure. They do say that the tree's like kind of weird. Like it's a gross old oak. It looks not cool. It looks
bad.
However, from what I've also heard from this person who has visited the tree multiple times, they actually kind of reconfigured the nature trail.
To show it off?
It doesn't run near the tree.
Oh, oof.
So there's another like dark oak that's on the trail that people think is the Devil's Tree.
But it's not.
The actual Devil's Tree is kind of like off one of the like service trails. You kind of have to know where it is to go find it.
Ow, boy, can you imagine like going to seek that out? I would be so creeped out.
Well, and the park's actually closed after, like many parks, sundown. Like government parks, they close at sundown. So it's closed at sundown. So you wouldn't really be able to find it unless you know someone who's been there or you like have looked up exactly where this tree is.
Right.
But yeah, so there's like, so things just keep happening in the park because people are like, okay, well, we got to go to Devil's Tree and like do this seance or whatever. But then they end up like on the trail, like not even near the tree.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's the Devil's Tree.
I never knew about that serial killer.
Yeah.
That is a creepy guy.
Oh, he's bad.
Yeah, he's real bad.
He was convicted of 2 life sentences in prison before ultimately being stabbed by another prisoner. Good. Yeah.
Devil's
no
Tree.
Love lost there.
I've never heard of these things. Good job.
Thank you. But have you heard of Robert the Doll? Why are you laughing, both of you?
The way you
have you heard?
It was the transition.
Of Robert the Doll?
It was the transition.
All right, but answer the question.
No, I don't know what the hell Robert the Doll is.
So, but have you been to Key West?
Oh yes, I've been to Key West.
Well, if you do visit Key West, make sure to pay a visit to one of Key West's most famous.
I'm looking at it right now.
Most famous residents.
No, I'm not going there. I'm not looking. I'm not finding him.
Robert the Doll. So,
what is this thing?
In the early 1900s, Robert Eugene Otto, also known as Gene, allegedly was given a strange doll by the maid. Now, I've heard different, like, this is where, like, the folklore, obviously, as you can tell, I've done some fact checking and, like, done some research and trying to get these stories right. I've heard several, like, myths around this, whether the maid was, like, because this was in a time, obviously, in the early 1900s, where they had, you know, Black people were more likely to be servants, and especially in Key West, it was a lot of Caribbean Black people.
Yes.
And so there's, you know, was she part of dark magic or voodoo or island spiritualism or whatever, you know, or was it something else happened to this doll? Like, no one knows, right? Sometimes she gets the blame, sometimes she doesn't, sometimes it's like something else, who knows? But basically, allegedly, the maid gave him this doll. He loved this doll. He brought him with it everywhere. And it's a life-size doll of a young boy. Oh my
God, it's life-size?
Yeah. You're looking at the photo now?
I thought it was little.
No, I've seen this doll in person. This doll's like 3-4 feet tall.
Oh,
yeah. So it's a life-size doll. And
why did he make this?
It was given to him.
Why would anybody give this to someone?
And
is his face made of cork?
It's like, I don't know, to be honest. It might be. So Robert Jean Otto, known as Jean, named the doll Robert after himself, which is, what you do. And it wasn't long before people began noticing signs of Robert the doll's evil and mysterious nature.
What was he doing?
Mutilated toys, mysterious happenings would happen in the home. Jean would blame all of these like mischievous things on Robert. They just began to escalate and get worse. The Ottos obviously didn't believe their son Jean, but it was reported that they could hear the eerie sound of Robert giggling around the house, and passerbys even claimed to see the doll moving from window to window. Robert was eventually moved to the attic, where he remained.
Oh yeah, because that's a great place for
a
him.
number of years. Jean leaves.
The kid leaves.
He grows up, he leaves. He comes back.
I'm out of here.
He comes back to his family's mansion in Key West after his parents pass. And what does he find? Robert the doll in his old bedroom. So Jean, who was an artist at the time, starts spending all of his time with Robert again. Like, he's bringing this doll around with him. He eventually gets married, and many tales of his wife's disdain for Robert arose, which I can only say as a potential wife to someone. If my husband was carrying around a 3.5 foot sized life doll of a boy that he named after himself,
we'd have a
that
problem.
Might be haunted from some like mysterious voodoo magic. Yeah, I have a problem. So conflicting rumors surface, alleging that Jean's wife died from insanity after locking Robert in the attic. Or others report...
this is a story I've never heard.
All kinds of other things happen. But eventually, Jean allegedly died with Robert by his side. Today, Jean's residence operates as a bed and breakfast called the Artist House. You can stay there in his old bedroom.
No, thank you.
And Robert now lives in the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, where some believe... that he is basically haunting it. So visitors should beware that though Robert is now in this glass tank, essentially, his favorite pastime is still doing mischievous acts and placing curses on those who take his photo without asking permission or those who are rude, because the doll is not a very pretty doll.
It's not.
Stop what you're doing. Pause. Look up this doll. Come back. It's not a cute doll. And so... basically, if you're rude to the doll, or if you take his photo without permission, he will haunt you and curse you.
How have we not had a movie about this yet?
I think actually there has been movies.
Is it called The Boy?
It might be, there's like 2 movies that have this as like, a very indirect kind of
it's bait kind of
idea behind it, right?
Yeah.
So basically, people report getting into accidents on the way home.
After they took his picture.
Or like just bad things happening to you. So to date, the walls near his glass case are covered in numerous letters from previous visitors and naysayers begging for his forgiveness and to remove the hex that he has cast on them. And that is Robert the doll.
Robert the doll needs to be burned.
Robert the doll is creepy as shit.
He needs to go.
I've heard of people saying that like, because they have cameras up in this museum, obviously, that he moves in the case. People have seen him move, or they like see him in a different position the next morning than he was in previously, and they just leave him. They're like, do your thing, bud.
I was thinking about Annabelle.
Yeah, Annabelle the doll.
It was just reminding me of the scene, the last Annabelle that I watched, where she was in a case, like the people had gotten her, and then the teens came down there and were messing with her.
Those are the teens, man.
I know,
the
stupid
youths.
Teens. Okay.
Should we stay in Key West?
Robert the doll needs to go.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. Why do we still have it?
I visited him. I did go see him.
No, I'm not doing it. Okay. Nope. I'm not doing it. I'm not messing with him. He's creepy. I'm not doing that with you, Robert.
Yeah.
No. I mean, and I'll go look at creepy stuff, but no, that one is like, you're asking for it.
It was really creepy. All the letters they do have all the letters in the room. And that's creepy. Like everything about it's like real, and he's creepy. Like everything is creepy.
It's kind of like giving life to things. I think when you start to give it the power, it has the power.
They call it a tulpa. We've talked about this before.
Yes, we have talked about a tulpa.
It's something in specific mythology. I can't remember, where its origins lie exactly, but essentially the idea is that like if you believe in something,
it's real.
There's enough belief, like enough people believe it, or your belief is strong enough, it becomes real.
This occurs in so many ways, in all types of things.
Yeah.
But specifically in like,
in Robert
black
the doll.
Magic and stuff. What else? Because Key West is a now Key West. I will give you
is a creepy place.
Key
West is a creepy ass fucking place.
It's a creepy place.
Like Key West,
it's got a really weird energy about it. It's chaotic. It's creepy. It's like a little scary.
There's nothing about Key West that should be so inherently scary.
Nope.
And yet,
it is.
I think it's because it's so far removed from mainland.
Like the tip so far down there.
It's so far from the mainland. Like you're on this island in the middle of nowhere, basically.
Yeah.
And shit just gets weird.
And it's like the end of the road.
It is.
It's the end of the road.
It's it. That's the bottom.
For this country. And for some people, that's like going, off the earth.
I don't know. People just, it gets weird.
It gets weird down there.
It gets really weird down there.
And it's weird in Florida, but then think about the most furthest part of Florida.
And it's old. It's really old.
It is.
Because it was used a lot. For people who don't know, obviously, I mean, we had a lot of trading with South America and also Cuba. It's very close to Cuba. And so Key West acted as a kind of like, intermediary space for a lot of that stuff.
Which a lot of weird stuff happens in places like that.
And there's a lot of connection too between, because you've got so many people like coming through. And there is a lot of connection between Key West and Tampa. Because so many of the Cuban and Spanish immigrants that went to Key West then later moved to Tampa.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so like the cigar stuff that happened here in Tampa, a lot of it's influenced by people that were in Key West.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that Tampa and Key West had a connection.
Yeah, there
Makes
is.
Sense.
Especially because now I'm just going into like bullshit. But basically,
history.
But, HB Plant had the railroad that came down here to Tampa.
Yes.
So that opened like its own, a way to have commerce down here. Okay. This story is not a ghost story. But it's one of these ones that like stuck with me. Should I tell you or should I just move on?
Why did it stick with you?
Because it's that fucking crazy.
Tell me.
Okay. So this starts with a guy named Carl von Cosel in Key West.
He sounds German.
He is German. In his early childhood, he said he would regularly be visited by one of his dead ancestors who kept showing him the face of his one true love, an exotic dark-haired woman.
Okay.
It gets weirder. In the 1930s, Carl is working as a doctor in Key West. He meets Maria Elena Milagro. The Hoyos walks in, who had tuberculosis, and immediately recognizes her as the woman in his dreams. He tries to save Elena with X-ray machines. He was a radiologist, whatever the fuck. And he tried to court her. So he's buying jewelry.
I mean, man, she got tuberculosis.
It is generally believed Elena was not into this. Elena dies at 22. She dies at 22. Carl, who's in his 50s by now, is distraught. He makes a death mask of her face. Weird. And then plays for the funeral.
Wait. What is a death mask?
It's like a mask of the person's face.
When they're dead?
Yeah, so that you can remember what they look like.
Well, why don't you make a mask of their face when they're alive?
Because you have them, they're alive.
So you make the mask.
The death mask.
They're dead, and then you make a mask of their dead face.
Death mask. Yeah. That's not the weirdest part of the story.
Go ahead.
So just stick with me. And I'm sorry in advance for telling you the rest of this.
Okay, thank you, because it sounds pretty bad.
He pays for the funeral and constructs an above-ground mausoleum in Key West Cemetery for her. He also adds an airtight casket and an incubator tank full of formaldehyde to prevent decay. He visits her every single night and says her spirit sings to him. In 1933, 2 years after his death, Carl sneaks into the cemetery and steals Elena's body. By now, she's pretty decomposed. It's been 2 years. So he uses piano wire to keep her together, gives her glass eyes, and replaces her skin with silk cloth soaked in wax.
Oh, boy.
He uses perfume to stop the smell of decay and removes all the maggots. He keeps her body in his bed.
Baby.
So you can imagine what was going on.
Baby.
And that's where I'll leave that. It gets worse.
Oh, wait.
In 1940.
The wax skin? What do you do now?
In 1940. 7 years later. Now this
7 years?
This is now 9 years from when she died. 7 years from when he took her body. It's 1940. And his neighbors are weirded out because this guy who's seemingly alone, lives alone.
Was he still working as a doctor?
I assume so. He stopped going to the cemetery. So people are like, that's weird. Maybe he's over her. Yeah. He wasn't. And he keeps buying women's clothes and tons of perfume. A neighboring boy, claims to have seen him from the window, dancing with what looks like a woman-sized doll. Elena's sister, now also suspicious, comes to visit Carl with her husband, and he tells her he's got her sister in the other room. Carl is arrested for grave robbing, and although he's examined by psychiatrists, he's declared sane. All charges are dropped due to the statute of limitations, and although it is now later believed in an autopsy that was done, I believe, in the 70s, that he was, in fact...
insane.
Having sex with the body, they did not... It was like 1940, so they didn't know.
It wasn't illegal.
It was illegal.
I don't know when they made that a law.
I'm pretty sure it was illegal, but also...
might not have been.
I don't think they looked for it, because I think they thought, that's too crazy.
No, that ain't that crazy.
But it's like that Andy Griffith, like, well, that could never happen.
Exactly.
No,
meanwhile,
it did happen, bro.
In people's
he put
houses
piano wire in her fucking
I think
body.
that kind of stuff happened a lot more than people really admit.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the name for it, but whatever.
Not to be that person who names a statistic and has no evidence, but I have heard that women are statistically more likely to be victims like as soon as they're born all the way past your death.
Yes.
So even when you're dead, you're not safe.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
I mean...
and for any men who want to go their own way... Do you ever have to think about your body potentially being
victimized after you're dead?
By a guy named Carl von Cosel.
Wait a minute. Go back.
I'm not done.
Skin. He melted wax to go over the body.
He used a silk cloth and then put wax on the cloth to make it feel like skin. Yes. The story isn't over.
This is insane.
So, he's arrested. Statute of limitations for grave robbing. Charges are dropped. Obviously, this makes the news, and most people...
What's this man's name again?
Carl von Cosel. Most people are sympathetic to Carl as a hopeless romantic. Yeah. Times suck. It was horrible. I'm so glad we're here now.
People are crazy as hell.
I'm so glad we're here. Key West has a public viewing of Elena's body. And I have found reports anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 people lined up to get a look at her.
Well, I mean, it is weird.
No, but I'm sorry. Maybe put the woman away. Like, goddamn, has she not been through enough? And then...
Carl von what?
Cosel. Schools let kids out for the day to take field trips. Reporters came from all over the country. Carl eventually, in his, last hearing... asks for Elena's body back in court and is denied his request, thank God. Apparently, the judge was pissed, though there's different reports on that as well. The judge was either pissed off or was like, no, dude, you can't have her back. Allegedly, Elena's body was buried in an unmarked grave in Key West to stop later tampering from both Carl and other people. Some people think it's as many as 3 unmarked grave, as if her body was separated to further stop that. However, others think that Carl was able to get the body back somehow. So what does Carl do with his newfound freedom? He moves to Zephyr Hills.
I'm looking at it right now.
To live near his, wait for it, wife and daughter that he had this entire time.
I don't like how you were pointing at me saying that.
Wait for it. Wife and daughter in Pasco County.
Why are you doing this to me right now? This is too much.
If I have to know this information,
I can't do this.
Everyone does. So, okay.
I can't.
He lived for 12 years by himself.
And why is his daughter named Aisha?
Girl, let me tell you.
What is going on?
Look up on your own time. Let me tell you the story.
Aisha?
We got to keep this podcast short.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He lived for 12 years before dying alone, being supported by his wife, who, God fucking bless that woman, because I would have killed.
Bless her.
I would have killed him myself.
There's no blessing her.
I mean, she must have been crazy. I don't know. She
had to be insane.
Because I would have run that man over.
Yeah, she had to be insane.
3 weeks after his death, his body is found in his apartment, and a life-size death mask wearing the face of Elena is seen close by. Allegedly, a note was later found by men doing renovations in Carl's apartment house place that he poisoned Elena
to get her
to make all of this happen. This has been cited several times, and it's unknown to be true. What happened to Elena? Why did this happen to Elena? We'll never know, except Carl von Cosel can go to fucking hell, in my opinion.
Bro, so he basically made a mummy. with plaster of Paris, wires, wax, and glass eyes.
He wanted her, and he was gonna have her, and it's disgusting in all sense of the word.
What are you? Ooh, good God Almighty!
Yeah, you can't spend too much time on
that
it.
one's too crazy.
I'll really fuck you up.
The brain just has gone absolutely just. It's done.
Toast.
It's done.
And I wonder if they declared him sane in order to like let him stand trial. Because if they go insane, then he doesn't have trial, right? It becomes harder. I don't know.
I think it probably was just the mores of the times.
No.
He's like a doctor, this, and
people
white
were like,
guy,
he loved her.
And he's like, he's pure of heart.
Bro, sometimes I hate this timeline.
Yeah, that's some weird times right there.
Okay, so let's bring it back.
Can we get a cleanser? Is there a cleansing ghost somewhere that we can talk about?
Let's go back to Tampa.
Okay, okay, it can't be that bad.
That's a tough one, but I did ask, and you consented, so here we are. Okay, so do you know any Tampa ghosts?
Oh wait, I think I do. What do I know a Tampa ghost?
Well, while you think, let me tell you about this one. So,
I think I do.
The Skyway Bridge.
Now, everybody there it's a bunch of ghosts up there.
The Skyway Bridge is a very famous local bridge here in Tampa. It's said to be haunted. It's a 5.5 mile bridge connecting St. Petersburg and Manatee County. Mm-hmm. So the current bridge was dedicated in 1987. So there you go. Yeah. But there was another bridge, and let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Many things have happened to the bridge over the years. This is thanks to an article by WFLA, a local news station. Mm-hmm. So the previous Sunshine Skyway Bridge was hit by a freighter in 1980.
That's the bad stuff.
Collapsing part of it and taking several cars and a Greyhound bus down into the bay. 35 people plunged to their death. Only one man survived. And the ghost bus is seen by people visiting the fishing pier, which is part of the old bridge. Many say they feel an actual breeze and even catch a whiff of the gasoline moving from the bus. More than 200 people have jumped from the highest point of the Skyway to their deaths. Mm-hmm. So anyone who's familiar with We the Kings, the old emo band, their song Skyway Avenue is actually based on this bridge. Just fun music fact. Some motorists report a weird, unexplained light phenomenon in the water under the bridge. Late at night, motorists have slowed down. And have even stopped to help what appears to be a woman standing alone on the bridge.
Yeah,
she has a history of getting into the car and then disappearing from the passenger seat as you drive over the bridge. Toll booth workers and motorists have seen the woman hitchhiking around at midnight. Many motorists pick her up, and they say she seems extremely nervous in the car and she wants to get to the other side of the bridge, but she vanishes before she can.
How many people have said this?
Many. Many people have said this.
This had to be accounts from like the 70s because nobody picks up hitchhikers anymore.
Bro, hell no.
Yeah, I'm not picking up no
That's
hitchhiker.
how I end up as a human mannequin.
Dahmer. No thank you.
Or tied to a tree. Goddamn.
Yeah, for sure.
We bring the weird. The Cuban Club is another very...
Oh, I know. The Italian Club.
Cuban Club. There's no ghost in the Italian Club.
Well, I went on a tour there and they did talk about ghosts.
Are you sure it was the Italian Club?
I was at the Italian club. They were Italian,
sure?
not Cuban. There's an Italian club in Ybor.
I know that. And there's also a Spanish club.
I know. It's all of them people. All of that. I'm telling you that in the Italian club, there was a story about a ghost.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to remember. I don't remember which ghost it was, but they say that it's haunted.
Well, I'm Cuban, so let's talk about the Cuban Club.
Okay.
In the 1920s, so the Cuban Club used to have a theater, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, these clubs were like the center of like community for these different people, right? So there's the Italian club, that was a place for Italians, and then there was the Spanish club, that was a place for Spaniards, and then the Cuban club for Cuban people, and they had like different levels and like theaters and events and all kinds of stuff there, and you paid membership and you got buried in their cemetery. Like my grandparents are buried in like the Spanish cemetery, so there's all kinds of stuff. Anyway, in the 1920s, one actor allegedly died by suicide in the Cuban Club after forgetting his lines. The worst part? He was the playwright.
Aw, and he killed himself because he forgot his lines?
Yes. So in the theater space, in the Cuban Club, it is often, or it is common to see a ghost light when it should otherwise be dark. And so what else we've got? Oh, the Cuban Club tale of Little Jimmy.
Not Little Jimmy.
Not Little Johnny.
Not
just
Little Jimmy. Johnny, Little Jimmy. Little Jimmy is interesting too.
So now they have what's a cantina, which is like the bottom floor. If you've ever been there for like a dance or a party. I've actually
never been to the Cuban club.
So there is like a space below that's like the cantina. It's got like a bar and stuff. Lots of people like have quinces or like homecomings there. Many years ago, that was the location of the Cuban club's pool. Allegedly, young Jimmy was either 8 or 9, depending on who you ask, and he drowned in the swimming pool and apparently has never left. Jimmy is a playful spirit and has communicated to guests using flashlights. If you find yourself with a flashlight in the Cuban club and it inexplicably starts blinking, don't worry, that's Jimmy saying hello. People also report seeing like a little face like peering around corners. And it's thought to be little Jimmy.
Does it look like this?
Oh gosh. So there was also reporting one time board members got into an argument and shot each other.
I believe that.
I do believe that, unfortunately. Reportedly, both of their spirits also remain at the club. Both ghosts obviously have regrets for the life unlived. And they're around the club. I think they're the ones that you can usually check by cigar smoke.
Okay.
Lastly, there are tales of pianos playing themselves, sorrowful tunes, and a woman in white wandering the halls. The Cuban club has long been used as a wedding reception venue. So it's thought that she was a bride that was left at the altar and eventually did kill herself as well.
Ugh. Cuban club. Yeah, little Jimmy, huh?
So I would be remiss if I did not give you some ghost stories from Tallahassee.
That's where I feel like you have your real stuff going on there. Tallahassee.
Oh,
it's old and traditional.
Tallahassee is like actually pretty messed up. And I remember when I was there years and years ago, they actually found Jason, you might know about this. There was like in one of those parks or one of those like kind of subdivisions near like Midtown, it was like slave burial grounds. Yeah.
I mean,
no, I know. There's slaves all over the place. It's sad.
That's not the most spooky of things that can happen.
No, but they just didn't know that. They just had no idea. And so all these people were like, wait, my like 3-2 with a 4-car garage and a pool.
That's happening here now.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, not slaves, but just people being buried and nobody knows that they're building their house on top of burial grounds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey.
I know.
That's what happens.
Crazy.
You keep building. So here are a couple of ghost stories from my time at the hallowed halls of Florida State University. So I feel like every university has a dormitory haunting.
Yeah.
And ours is Cawthon Hall. So legend has it that when Florida State was a Florida State College for Women, a student was sunbathing on the roof of Cawthon. Her roommate closed the window, not knowing that she was out there. She was unable to get inside. A thunderstorm rolled in, trapped on the roof.
Oh, damn.
The girl tried to get in, hoping someone would be there, but I think it was like break or something. So basically, she was discovered the next day killed by a lightning strike.
Oh, damn.
To this day, students who live on the top floor claim they can occasionally hear someone pounding on the windows and crying for help. And sometimes they'll look outside their window and see a girl outside.
If anybody would turn into a ghost, it would be that person.
Absolutely.
That's a bad way to go out.
I'd be pissed.
That's a real bad way to go out.
But my favorite story was the story behind the Keene building.
Okay, what happened
Which
there?
I think is the Department of Physics. So there was a doctor named Dr. James Velma Keene. He is said to have performed lobotomies. As an experiment on the highest floor of the building back when lobotomies were a thing.
Yeah.
However, the university ceased paying for his research when it was decided that lobotomies cause more harm than good. No shit.
Think?
And Dr. Keene, obviously infuriated because he was not able to continue his experimentation, took to actually continuing his experimentation, of course, at late at night when no one else was in the building.
He would come back in
on the top floor, using homeless people in the area as his victims.
Oh, man.
And I believe this was all happening, if I remember right, kind of after one of the wars.
Okay.
And Tallahassee, as the capital, has a lot of veterans that come in and out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of homelessness in the veteran population,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So the idea is he would just take these homeless people, offer them like food or like a place to stay for the night, bring them up to the building, perform a
And do a
lobotomy
lobotomy on
to
them.
like test whatever he was looking at next.
Sheesh. These doctors, I tell you.
Bro. Can't trust them. Can't
Lord,
trust them.
What is going on?
It is said if you look at the Keene building late at night or any time of the day, you will find the lights on the top floor on. And allegedly, that's because they've never been able to turn them off since. So the ghosts of all the men that he's performed lobotomies on stay in that space.
Poor guys.
And you'll never see the lights off. And that's
Well,
that.
I guess Florida does have some spookiness, huh?
Yeah.
A little bit more than I thought.
Weird shit happens down here.
It does.
It usually involves the living.
It does.
But
Sometimes.
every now and then,
It's the ghost.
there you go.
I'm still not right about Carl. That one's I'm gonna have to look some more stuff up about that. I'm gonna have to do my own investigations.
Just be careful because you will find her body. Like you will.
I just saw it.
Yeah, you'll find pictures that you don't want to see. And also, if I ask you during a spooktacular episode,
Okay.
be concerned.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that to me because you know I'm gonna say tell me. You did it on purpose.
So now it's on record that I did say, do you want to hear this?
Yeah, but you knew that was a device to get me to say yes. So
No.
that you put that on me like
No.
your friend told you had a spirit on you.
No.
You wanted somebody else to have it.
It was me saying, do you want to hear about this crazy shit? Because if I have to know about it,
I
somebody
should've
else
said
does.
no. Exactly. That's what you did. Oh my gosh. How crazy, man.
Some fun stuff, right?
It is fun.